Okay, so the purpose of this video here today is to alleviate any confusion regarding setups on a race car. A lot of drivers come to us and they want to copy what the fast guy's doing, and they think that's going to make them fast. And while that can mask some of the problems, and it can work sort of, it's not the answer. The answer at the end of the day is really becoming comfortable in your race car and learning to drive the car, and then adding a more aggressive setup to the car. Most of the time the car will be set up pretty neutral, and we want to see what type of driver the person is, and then we want to add some more aggressive features, like getting the car to oversteer more in the turns. And so what that really takes is us becoming familiar with the driver, communicating with the driver what works for him, what doesn't, or her, and really what they want to get out of the car. So when somebody says copy that fast guy setup on my car, I kind of chuckle. We do it, but we got to remember that there is a lot more to it, and it is more scientific than that. So this little clip will show you a little conversation between some of the drivers here at Autobahn. Again, I'm Francesco D'Avola, and this is a Team Stradale video. This is talking about setups. So the question was, Louis.
So I want that new setup that everyone's got and running out there, the fast times out there.
Why?
Because it seems fast. Mine doesn't seem fast. I'm not going that fast.
How is it going to be fast for you, though? That's my question.
If he drives exactly like that guy drives, then that's the right setup for him.
No, that's
Right?
the right setup for it.
Right?
Right.
So this is my argument. We get this question all the time, and this is my argument for this question. Okay? If I put that setup on your car, you may or may not achieve what that driver is achieving. But that driver is fast because he's aggressive. This is for, did you want one?
No.
Okay. He's aggressive in the car, so that setup works for him. The standard setup that we set up on that we put on a Radical is, I don't want to say neutral, but
That kind of sucks, though.
it pushes a little bit.
Yep.
Right? Which is safe, but you can dial that out and you can get a little bit of oversteer in the car, which is what a lot of people like when they are fast. But when they're slow in the beginning, push is good for them because it's safe and it teaches them the car. But when they get faster, they need a little oversteer because then it swings the back end of the car around and it's less friction and they can go faster. So faster drivers are getting more aggressive with their setups.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
100%.
But if we put that on every single person's car, they're not going to achieve that goal necessarily because they drive differently. They execute the turn differently. They get to the speed differently. They get to the power differently.
They'll feel like their car is a bit out of control.
Out of control and nervous. Okay?
So the entry level setup, which is not, it's very street setup. It's as if you had a really good street car. It's very neutral, very balanced, but not tremendously fast.
No.
Yeah.
But it's safe. So
Yep.
when you feel comfortable in the car and your seat feels nice and the belts feel nice and you can start putting it out on the edge and you can start really pushing the car, that's when you want to put a setup that is a little bit more, has a little bit more oversteer, and you can get the back end out on the edge.
But you're actually driving kind of fast now,
Yes,
so
sir.
don't go with that
Yeah.
crappy stock setting.
Don't
You
go
gotta
with-
I did. I went to the aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
now
gotta
you're
go
more
with
and more
Aaron's
aggressive.
looking to go to the aggressive this week.
It
too.
makes sense for you guys now. But when like Mike asked, he's like, put Antoine's setup on my car. I'm
No.
like, okay, fine, we'll put it on. Or when John or Tino asked, put the setup on my car, we put it on and he hated it because it was nervous and it made him very uneasy. So he actually went like 5 seconds slower with that aggressive setup on the car because he was so uncomfortable that he couldn't even get to the throttle. Then we secretly put his car back to the factory setup and he went out there and he dropped like 6 seconds.
There
and he was
goes that
driving-
secret.
He was driving perfect because that setup he was comfortable with. It's just it's like a fingerprint. There is no proper setup for each individual. Plus, you have to change the setup every day. So like a different track, a different temperature, different conditions, all of that has to do with the way the car is set up.
And the different car.
Yeah.
Because you take a car that's new and all the suspension parts are new, all the bushings are new, everything like that. It has a certain feel. You take that and translate it to a car that's much older, and the components, and they all have their wear, and they do things differently. So like when Antoine drives my car, and our setups are totally different. He drives it a bit different. I actually think he likes my setup a little bit more.
He does. For
yeah.
racing. Remember what he said?
For racing.
He
Yeah.
said his setup is good for
Qualifying lap.
For qualifying lap.
Yeah.
But Niko's setup is better because he can drive it more consistently that way.
Right. He
So
says
for a race, it's better.
It's less aggressive. Yours
it's
is?
not that it's
Still touch.
yeah, mine's very stiff. The way his car is set up, it's almost set up for a qualifying lap. If there's no one in front of you and you are all out, his car's tremendously fast. To me, that always feels just a little bit too loose. So I have mine set a little bit differently. When he's in my car, he's within a tenth or two of his time, but he's consistently within a tenth of his fastest time. So he said, in a race, I'd rather have your car because it's set up perfect. But if I want to nail that absolute fastest lap, it's in his car, which is why he's a little bit all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Then you have center drive cars. Stafford's car.
You have opposite side drive
You have
cars.
Paul's car, right-hand drive car. That car cannot be, yeah, you can do the shock settings the way you're doing this, but his balance, his corner balance is completely different. And actually, Paul's car handles, or is probably the easiest to set up because that's the way the car was designed for a right-hand drive. So here in the United States, we use left-hand drive. So yeah, you can get it close, but the right-hand drive car is actually the way to go.
No, you don't.
Now, when you go order
See?
your car, you're gonna,
He bought it.
but you have to be comfortable.
That's how he
with it.
sells another car to you.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Or he'll just
Yeah.
buy one and bill you for it. That's
But
your
you
other
have to be
move.
comfortable with it. You can't, if you're not comfortable in a right-hand drive car, you're never going to drive it.
Hey, did
fast.
you fix that thing that I broke on your remote control car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do I owe you for that?
$4,200.
Really?
Basically, that's it. I mean, in a nutshell, we can do a setup for you. However, you know, you still have to drive the car, and you have to say to us, yes, I like the way it's handling the turns, or you know, entry speed or entry it feels nice, or middle feels nice, or the exit I don't like, and then we can dial it more. That's how he achieved the setup that he likes. He took one of those more aggressive setups and then tweaked it a little bit more to meet his needs.
Well, when I went on mine, it took me all day long to get to back down to the time I was getting with the
Right.
relaxed or the neutral setup.
Yeah.
It took me all. I mean, now I get it, and I can play with the car more.
Yeah.
But I thought instantly that here's a second, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I thought instantly I got this. It's a second. But
And
it was
tires is huge. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not forget, he's always running on tires that are 8 year old. So
I changed one tire today and dropped a full second. Just one that was,
Yeah.
it was awful.
oh, that tire was bad. That should have.
Yeah, that was almost dangerous.
That was dumpster diving tire. But the tires is probably 60-70% of the handling of the car.
Mhm.
So you have to have proper tires. Then you can talk setup.